I put you on mute. No, you are great. Well, welcome back, everyone. As you know, this is our first hybrid, and so we're playing with it. We have lots of people downstairs, and the food is so good, it's hard to get them up here. But I think we could still get started because we have limited time.
Can I just jump in real quick?
Hi, Mary, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say, I have to go now. I want to say bye, but I just want to thank you all and Sherry for this BPRG, and I'm so grateful. And we just had we had two groups, as we know, just the deepest, most powerful, meaningful groups for me. So thank you for everyone in my group and everybody here. And I wish I was with you guys, but
I know, last time I was here, Mary, we were sitting on this couch together. Watching Fantastic Fun Guy. It was great. And I want to, before you go, Mary, I just want to say thank you. I think you've come to more meetings online than anyone else, and I'm so grateful for that. Really, you add such a sparkle to every meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I love it so much. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
We'll miss you. Have a good afternoon. Okay. So 101. So we'll start with, can we get this or the speaker view? So we get it. So why don't we start? We have two updates ready to go here in person. So let's start with those. So if I could first invite Elise Hobwitzel to update us with the Contemplative Practices Affinity Group, please.
Great. Thank you, Anne. I don't know quite where to look so that I'm
look at the owl.
The owl. The owl is not an embodied being, but I will look at the owl anyway. Thank you, Anne. It's great to be here. I want to thank Ron and you, Anne, Dick Simon, and all those behind BPRG, all those that have made this possible over these 5 years. It's really amazing what has been created. And so I have two announcements about the contemplative practices and psychedelics.
Sorry,
Is this better?
sorry, Elise. Just 1 second.
Coming up, we've already started.
Yeah, and also, Anne, the owl is amazing, but we pick up everyone's voice in the room. So if people are doing small talk, we hear it all.
Yeah, it's that'll be 15 or 20 minutes. Yeah. So
Shall I continue?
I do
my best.
This is our first time. We're going to learn.
Yeah. Okay. So two quick announcements about the Contemplative Practices and Psychedelics Affinity Group. The first is that we are really lucky that in February 7th, we will have Andrea Tomasi as a guest. Andrea is trained in holotropic breath work and is a beautiful, beautiful sound healer, sound therapist, provides sound baths for groups. And she will be with us both to offer practice and experience and immersion in sound and in our own vocal toning, and for conversation about what her training and experiences taught her. And the other announcement is that I sadly will need to be stepping back from from facilitating this group, and I'm hoping that someone in the community will be interested in stepping forward to take over. I've really enjoyed the past 2 years of facilitating this group, and I need to take something off of my plate. And so either someone else will step in or I'll run very occasional gatherings when the time allows. So I'll say more about that in an email. My email, if you want to reach out to me, is on the BPRG website under the Contemplative Practices and Psychedelics groups. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Thanks for all you've done for us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks.
And Rebecca Slater to tell us about the Veterans Affinity Group.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here in person. Just so much that went into organizing this has been really nice. Thank you, Anne and Ron. everyone. So in thinking of sort of that, as an anniversary and looking back, I was reflecting, preparing for this, about how much has changed even in the 2 years since we started this group. The Veterans Connection and Support Group is a hub for veterans and those who serve them. So veterans, clinicians, those who are facilitating the centers, this is really a place where we can come and we can talk about what's going on now and what the needs are. And what's been really wonderful is just seeing how that's evolved in the availability and the public opinion for the veterans, a lot in what they're doing. And so this group is a place where they can, whether it is in Massachusetts or they don't have community, we have veterans across all different states that can join, and we just talk about, what's the latest and keep everybody up to date. Our main tenants are trying to build that path, a trusted path of healing, with trusted resources. And so we have monthly meetings. The latest is we're really looking at the community piece, as where a veteran will go to a retreat or see a therapist or go alone, giving them a place where they can, find someone else and who's had a similar experience. And what we've observed is in that they come back a little hesitant, but then in that community, then find their voice to go step into legislation or being, using their voice for positive there, or becoming peer supporters to other veterans. And it's really exciting to see them make that transition. So looking ahead, that's really what we're trying to do more of, is build that community. And just some other news, the American Legion came out recently with a resolution urging Congress for funding. So that's really great news, because as community is in pretty much a huge portion of that integration, that seems like a really great place to start planting those seeds. There's also been a lot of progress with hearings for Congress, and the VA coming out with podcasts for in support of psychedelic assisted therapy as well. So those are really exciting things that have happened. A lot of it with all the work that's kind of come before. And then finally, if you work with veterans or treat veterans, or they need an option there, you're starting to see more US-based treatment options as well. There's Heroic Path to Light that operates as an entheogenic church out of Austin, Texas, that's doing really, really good work. High quality facilitators, really top notch. And then Heroic Hearts Project under Oregon law has done their first stateside retreat in Oregon. So they're really working on building that retreat model that they've used for so long, but here in the States. So my email as well is on the website if you'd like to be connected in, or part of the veteran news, please reach out and we'll be in touch.
Great. All right. Thank you, Rebecca. Lots of exciting news. And I have an update from Dolly Lotish, who unfortunately couldn't be with us. She's in transit. She stopped here to say hello and now is in transit to another meeting. So she runs the palliative care psychedelic affinity group, and they just had their 6th meeting, and one of the members shared a ketamine protocol for palliative care that's used at Dartmouth. We'll attach that to the newsletter, and they'll have another meeting in January, and she'll give us that date so we can get that in the mailing that we send out in the next couple of weeks. So, and then Susan Walker, please, my fellow MAPS therapist, who has a good update about MAPS training. So you're looking at the
here. Okay, that's great. So I wanted to just let people know that Fluent, that's based in New York, is now going to be doing the MDMA assisted therapy MAPS educational programs to teach therapists how to use this modality. And their first training will be at the end of January, and the deadline for that is, I believe, December 15th. Great, thank you.
And you can give us a link to put in the mail. Great, thank you, Susan. Brian Rajkok, are you online?
Hey, yes, I am.
Can you give us an update on your project at Johns Hopkins, please?
Yes, sure. So, hi everyone. Brian Raychak here, and I recently got involved with a Johns Hopkins project. It's an archive project looking to collect spiritually significant or mystical psychedelic experiences. And the idea is to create a database that is catalogs all the published literature about psychedelic experiences that have mystical elements or spiritual elements. And so I'm working with it's not, I'm not the lead on it, but I'm David Yaden, and Mariana is one of his doctoral students, and so they're leading on it. And I last year wrote my PhD dissertation on spiritually significant psychedelic experiences, and have teamed up with them and many others. And so we're looking to recruit people, anyone who is interested in joining the project. It's a great experience. We meet on Zoom once a week for a half hour, and then basically just talk through what we're like. Each person will add one or two experiences a week, and the hope is to have many volunteers who are willing to add 1, 2, or 3 experiences a week and help to build this database. And so if anyone would like to join us, it's a great team, and it's a great introduction to, great way to get into psychedelic research, and especially if you're interested in psychedelic spirituality, mysticism, and the I think we're looking at spiritually significant psychedelic experiences now, and then also in the future maybe looking into I see something. I'll read those in a sec. But looking at naturally occurring mystical experiences as well. And so it's interesting, and hopefully if anyone is out there who would like to join us, we'd be happy to have anyone on board. And you don't have to come every single week or anything like that. It is, sort of a group of, pretty relaxed and lenient as far as attendance goes and that kind of thing. But if we can have people who are interested in this, please let me know, and I can give my email. Should I put that in the chat, Anne? My email, and I'll have a blurb as well too.
Right.
So,
Then you can certainly put it in the chat, and then we'll look forward to having a write-up that we can send out to our next mailing. And then you can
great.
also post this information on the Mighty Networks platform, if for any of you do that.
Excellent.
Thank you,
And I'll read
Brian.
through
It
the
sounds like
chat. I see some. Great.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you all.
Chris, thank you so much, Brian. We look forward to hearing more. And Chris Adrian.
Do you mean Chris Adrian and?
I said Chris Adrian, who I saw on. Chris, are you with us still? There you are. Welcome.
I am, yeah, and I'm here with Dr. Dingle Spence, with a joint announcement that Dingle has the information on.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Dingle. I'm, if you don't know me already, I'm an oncology and palliative care physician in Jamaica. And I've been working in the psychedelic space with Chris, who actually introduced me to the therapeutic side of it 3.5 years ago. And we, in Jamaica, we have an NGO called JACRI, stands for Jamaica Cancer Care and Research Institute. And we recognize that there's a gap in the experiential side of facilitation or guiding in psychedelic setting. And so in Jackery, we are providing that place where people can come to Jamaica, safe, legal, beautiful, warm, all those nice things. And we provide a 7-day, 6-night experience that includes a personal journey for everybody. It's facilitated by guides, including Chris, myself, and a couple of other people who have all been trained in this work and continue to do it on a regular basis. We provide, so on day one, everybody, all the participants journey. And then we have an integration day. And then day 3, we divide the group in half. And so half facilitate and half have a journey. And then we have another integration day, and then we flip the pairs so that everybody has a chance to have at least 2 journeys, and also a chance to sit as a facilitator. So it's a kind of meta environment whereby we're running a retreat like we would normally run a retreat, but we're also providing training and experiential opportunities for people who are interested. We generally like it if people have done some theory beforehand. So this is catering to folks who are doing any of the number of courses that are available right now. And we have 2 retreats. We did our first retreat in June this year with 4 participants, which was very well received, and people are happy to give quotes and to talk to others if they're interested. And we have 2 retreats for next year, one the 26th to the 31st of May, and the other one in November. I'm forgetting the date. You have it there, Chris? I think it's could be the 26th of November to the 1st of December. Yeah, so just wanted to let you know, and also just was interested to hear about Heroic Hearts. I also work with a group called Beckley Retreat, and last week we completed a retreat for 11 veterans who were funded through a donor who was supporting folks through Heroic Hearts. And I have to say, I was blown away by the transformation that we saw between how folks were when they came and how they were when they left. And of course, integration is very, very critical. So Beckley Retreats has a 6-week integration package for anybody who comes, but also very importantly for the veterans. Thanks, Chris. Chris has just put the dates in the chat there for us. So we have, our website has not yet been updated. It's jaccri.org, jaccri.org, and we're by the end of the year, update it with our save the date flyers and a bit more information for you. So thanks for giving us the opportunity to share this info. Really appreciate it.
And are you talking? You're on mute.
No, we had a little technical problem, but
We got human error.
we're getting there. Okay, so Jingle and Chris, are you? Oh, we have them done. So Jingle and Chris, thank you. It sounds like an amazing program, and we look forward to learning more about it. Thank you for telling us about it.
And can you ask Gio to turn your video on, or is that the technical problem?
It's loading in now.
It's loading, right? Loading. Okay,
Thank you.
there we go. Okay, could you hear?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. I think we're doing amazingly well. Go.
Oh, wow, you guys are all in the room now.
Coming in, yes.
Thank you, Gio.
So, next update, please, from Elizabeth. And can I just let everyone know that any noise in this room gets picked up, and we're a pretty chatty crowd. I know it's all interesting, but please be quiet. So, next update from Elizabeth Ames of the amazing work that she's doing in the Ukraine.
Thank you. It's awesome seeing everybody today. Everything that we've done in Ukraine, we being the ecosystem of 3 organizations now that are working on embedding psychedelic assisted therapy into the culture and the future of the country. All of this came out of a BPRG meeting where Anne was talking about what could happen with interest groups, and I didn't know anyone, and I was really shy, and I went, I'd like to launch the movement in Ukraine. And it was sort of like I said, I'd like to go to Mars. And Anne, being Anne, just said, well, sure. So where we are now is exceptional. The Ukrainian NGO that was based in great part on BPRG, the Ukrainian Psychedelic Research Association, has really had extraordinary breakthroughs. They've advocated for government rescheduling of pretty much all psychedelics. And it's passed an important first public hurdle. And I would say that MDMA, psilocybin, mescaline, LSD, and 5-MeO-DMT are all going to be legalized, I'd say, in 6 to 10 months. Wow. With targeted use, first for veterans and first responders in a variety of settings, including a military psychiatric rehab hospital, a shamanic guy out in Valencia, Spain, who I've never seen with a shirt on ever. And also some actual heroic battalions that are talking about leading the way for treating their veterans, and the compelling testimony that that would represent to the society is beyond belief. So those plans are big. On the Heal Ukraine Trauma, which is the sister US nonprofit organization that looks at conflict-related trauma more broadly, we're focused on creating a joint group therapy model for administering the medicines, starting with ketamine, and we're continuing to do mind-body therapies for hundreds of kids. So thank you, BPRG, and congratulations to everybody in the community, and thank you for the support and inspiration.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Beautiful, beautiful work. Well, I wonder, Mason Marks, are you on?
I don't see him in.
I'll see him. Okay. David?
Hello. Should I look at the owl or I look at the people? What are you supposed to do here? So good afternoon. I'm David Esselman, this Executive Director of Brain Futures. We're a 501c3 based in Maryland, as many of you know. We just released what we hope will be a New York Times bestseller this winter called The Psychedelic Assisted Therapy Insurance Coding and Reimbursement Guide. It is available for free at brainfeatures.org. You know, we're really focused, particularly within psychedelics, even though we're focused on brain health intervention generally, particularly rapid acting brain health interventions. We really sort of retooled going into 24 and 25 to focus around 3 areas. Number one, we just hired a lobbyist in Washington, D.C., where we're going to focus on effective, safe, but limited regulation for psychedelic assisted therapy, working both with Congress as well as hopefully conversations within HHS this year. And we focus specifically on the medical and behavioral health models. So that's where we'll be living on the policy side. We're really trying to figure out how we create an articulated strategy between federal and state law, because there's some hiccups that we have to work with, particularly around the CSA. Controlled Substances Act, for those that aren't deep in this world. We find it somewhat ironic that a drug that the government has for now 6 or 7 years said has breakthrough therapy, to have another part of the same government say it has absolutely no medical use whatsoever. We just like to accentuate that disparity. We're also really focused on practitioner pipelines. So we've been talking a lot with Johns Hopkins and NYU and Yale on the psychiatry side, as well as Columbia on social work and Penn nursing, about how do we start to create more cost-effective models for training therapists and doctors and psychiatrists, and what this entire community is going to look for. And there's been a lot of focus on sort of individual efforts to train cohorts of folks, which I think is really important for early adoption. But we're trying to take a 7 to 15 year arc of how do we get into 100 R1 research institutions, which are our largest in the country, major academic medical centers throughout the country, and really create articulated programming between different specialties, so that when a Texas or a Wisconsin or a Colorado, sort of decide that they want to take this on, or the University of Washington, which actually services 4 states, how do we allow it so that people have a complete continuation from psychiatric intervention to, therapeutic support, and then hopefully that will lead itself towards wellness and real thriving. So we're thinking about the practitioner pipeline stuff pretty deeply. And thirdly, is the one that I started off, which we joke about, but is really important, which is insurance reimbursement. And the reality is 91% of Americans have some form of insurance. We know the challenges that it relates to that, but it does 2 things. One, particularly a national coverage determination, is going to be essential for us to really legitimize what we all know to be true. It also is going to signal to Medicare and Medicaid that this is something that should be covered. It will start to create pressure on the VA. It'll also start to create pressure on private insurance. And so we just think it's really important, not just from an accessibility standpoint, but also from a changing of the tenor of how we can make this available to the vast majority of Americans. And as for better or for worse, as we learned from the Controlled Substances Act, the US guides a lot of other countries' decision-making. I want to give just strong props to the Aussies for kind of going their own way this year. But it was really important for us to have this conversation, sort of in its totality. And so my call to action today here, everyone's in the room or online, is, we're looking for academic medical centers that are interested in incorporating psychedelic assisted therapy. We look like we're going to hire a major research institution yet to be named, but we should sign a contract this week where we're going to survey 2,500 programs across the country to see where interest lies. We're particularly focusing on certain populations, particularly historically Black colleges, and really trying to understand where we can take what Yale and Columbia and Penn and others have started in Wisconsin on the pharmacology side, and allow this to really propagate. So if you know academic medical centers where there's particularly tenured faculty or deans that would be interested, we'd love to talk to them. If you know key decision makers on pharmacy benefit or on the behavioral health side at payers or providers, you want to talk to them. I'm tracking you down later. And so that's going to be essentially key. And then we are going to be very active in Washington in 24. And so if you do have, access to key legislators in certain committees, if you want to talk to me about it, we're starting to map about how do we educate. The one thing that's different about our effort in Washington, I think, compared to most of the others that are advocating for psychedelics, is we're simply going to try to educate. We're not advocating for a bill. We're not talking about an appropriation. We're just trying to clear the air around some of the confusion around psychedelics. And that's going to be our focus the next 2 years. So if there's people that want to partner with us, we're at brainfeatures.org. That's us.
Thank you, David.
Thank you all. Thank you for having me.
Oh, and happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. I can talk to my son. He's like, "You're throwing a great party for yourself." I was like, "Thank you, Ron Miss, for the great party."
Thank you, David. So Anand, I saw you putting something in the chat, which we can't really see. Do you want to give us an update? Anand, are you still on?
Oh, hi. No, I was sending that to someone personally and it's made a faux pas, but we can we can update that our last Mandala CAP program completed its third cohort the beginning of the month to another deeply moving, powerful experience for our frontline healthcare workers experiencing burnout. Again, as a team, we're just constantly moved by the power of this work to help people transition through difficult areas in their life. And we're looking to see what we're going to provide in the next year and what the program is going to look like. And Elise who spoke earlier is one of the members of our team, along with Swana DeGeisel and Meg Streepy. So that's it for Overground and for our healthcare worker provider program. And so we just want to thank the BPRG for the support of getting the word out about our program and giving us a platform to really share this with the local New England community. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful work, Anand. Thank you for rising to the occasion, being put on the spot. So I had two other people who said they were going to be here, but I guess they're not. But let's try Mason Marks again.
No, not here.
No, okay. So Mason Marks, many of you may know, is from the Projects on Psychedelics Law and Regulation, POPLAR, at the Petrie Flom Center at the Harvard Law School. And I had asked him to come tell us about the recent Gracia Family Foundation grant to endow the study of psychedelics and culture at Harvard. Hopefully we can get at least a write-up from him. There's been pretty good publicity within the Harvard community, but I'd like to get the publicity out to the larger community. I don't know enough to do that at this point, but I'll be a conduit if I can be. And then the other person who let me know he couldn't be with us, unfortunately, is Jared Moffett. He was on our last meeting. He's from the New Approach Advocacy Fund, and he's helping to run the 2024 mass ballot question called the Natural Psychedelic Substances Act. So they're in the process now of collecting signatures. They're very close. They think they have enough, but you have to go through the process of having them all validated and approved by the state, and that should be done within the next week or so. I personally got an update just a day or two ago. Jared could fill you in much more, but he's very optimistic that they'll have those signatures certified within the next week or so. From there, it goes into the legislature and it has to be approved there. They could pass it, but that never happens, so we don't expect that to happen. But there's a chance there also to change the wording of it a little bit. And so that's going to be an interesting process. There are a few other bills that are more along the decrim nature in front of the legislature. So we'll see how that all plays out. And then assuming it's through the legislature, then it will be put on the ballot for November 2024. And we hope here in Massachusetts, I think probably most people here know, but Oregon was the first state. They started implementing it in January. Colorado's passed it, but hasn't implemented it yet. We had someone on the call earlier from Colorado who's going to give us an update at our January meeting about what's going on in Colorado. I'm really hoping we can get a group together here in Massachusetts to do a deep dive into what's happening with the implementation in Oregon. It's extremely complicated. There are lots of bumps in the road, and I think we are not doing ourselves a service without trying to learn as much as we can. So I would ask anyone in the BPRG community who knows people in Oregon to just put feelers out and get a sense of what's going on there. I know I've talked to Jared about pulling together an advisory council of people who mostly probably are clinicians, but I think any word we can get from Oregon, anything we can learn from Oregon, because getting it passed is one thing, implementing it is a whole nother thing. And way more complicated, I think. I've heard some stories in Oregon that make me want to make sure that we get the best minds working on this to do it right. So I don't know if Jared would have said that, but that's my personal feeling at this point. So, and I'm wondering, anyone else have any updates that they want to give? We have a little more time than we thought, now that you've left the food. I guess the only other update that I'd like to give, there's so many people here who graduated from the CIS CPTR course, so I just want people to know that we've just started the third cohort in Boston. And we have close to 400 people now, with 115 in Boston, about 200 in San Francisco, and the remainder purely online. We had our first weekend in person about 6 weeks ago, I guess, and people were really excited and having a lot of fun with the course. Had one online. We meet right after Thanksgiving for 5 days to do the MAPS training, and people are very excited about that, to get together and do the MAPS training. So it's exciting that so many people are interested in being trained in this. And here we go. Who did the CPTR? Yeah, great representation. And is doing it now. You can raise your hand. So again, anyone else? I don't. Dan, you want to give an update?
Well, just because Dick put a bug in my ear.
Oh, good. Yeah.
He does that. So extempore, just a very quick update on an effort that some of you may be aware of.
Maybe.
Infia is a.
Is there anyone?
Your Price is Right moment. No, right there.
And Sherry's listening.
All right, well, she'll keep- You are listening, okay, and you're watching too, probably. So Dick suggested I give a quick update on. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Dan Rome. I'm a psychiatrist by trade and training. The third career in my life has been helping co-found a company called Infia. Our mission is simple. It's to make psychedelic assisted therapies accessible and affordable. What does that translate into pragmatically? Just what David was referring to, also getting health insurance coverage or third-party payment coverage for these treatments. Right now, we're involved in lining up employers, self-funded employers, to offer ketamine-assisted therapy as a kind of prototype. And we are building a network of ketamine-assisted therapists with an eye toward those in particular who may be interested in working with other compounds as they come online. And then we're engaging employers, sort of early adopter employers who are interested in offering this benefit to their employees and their dependents. So that's an ongoing project. And there was a second thing I was going to say about it. But let me just stop there and just.
Sherry.
Yeah.
Sherry, what have I left out?
What was Dan gonna say?
We're always
Oh,
looking, we're always
introducing myself.
for providers to join our provider network. So if you're in the room or online and you provide ketamine therapy, we are definitely looking for providers to join our network. If you know anyone that might be interested in offering ketamine therapy to their employees through their company, we're always looking for that too. I'll put an email address in the chat. Yeah, that's basically it. Thanks, Dan.
Very good, thank you.
And Dan was one of our presenters along with Jim Roosevelt, July 2022. So if you're really interested in learning more, go online, and because we have the video of the presentation.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And Dan and I went to medical school together.
That's my most important credential.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Indeed. Updates. Thank you, everyone. And